Tack så mycket Anna. Ja, då är det dags för nästa programpunkt och nu ska vi få höra om AstaZero som är en av världens mest moderna provningsbanor för framtidens fordon och som också var först ut i Sverige för några år sedan att få testlicens för 5G. Och de som presenterar är Magnus Castell och Dag Åberg från Ericsson och Peter Janevik från AstaZero. Och vi ska börja med att få se en film.
Three, two, one, go!
So once again, good day everyone and welcome to this presentation about the collaboration between Ericsson and AstaZero. So the presentation will primarily cover that, but we do have some examples that also cover other actors in the family as well. And the team that will present this for the next 15 minutes or so consists of, it consists of myself, Magnus Castell. I'm working at Ericsson. I'm managing the Expericom Test and Innovation Network in the new business and concept development domain.
And my name is Dag Åberg. I'm also part of the Expericom unit, but I'm also in the BTEB IoT sales organization, meaning that I'm primarily focusing on the automotive industry and our solutions with our partners and customers in that domain.
And I'm Peter Janevik. I'm the CEO for AstaZero. And I'm actually sitting on the proving ground today, so I could be in the same room as Dag and Magnus, but I think it's going to work out anyway, yeah? I don't think we see the presentation now, though.
No.
Could you please share your presentations from your end? From the beginning.
I am sharing. Let's see.
Perfect.
Thank you very much.
Technology is always a wonder, right?
All right, moving on. So about the movie that you saw in the beginning of this presentation, that is an example and a quite good example that represent the collaboration and the joint projects we are running together with Ericsson and AstaZero at the AstaZero test ground. But before going into the present days and into the future, let's have a quick look on the background on our way to where we are today and how it all began, so to say. So in the past, transportation and automotive and the communication industry, they share history quite long back. And in the beginning, you could say, or in the past, you could say that transportation and automotive was very vehicle-centric. You had a closed system that took you from point A to point B, and you might have some sensors on board, but the main sensor was the driver. And the vehicle was communicating with the rest of the world using audio-visual signals and sometimes abusive hand gestures. When it comes to communication, we also started our journey human-centric. I mean, the focus up till like a decade ago was human-to-human voice communication. But up till, let's say, a decade, like 10, 15 years ago, we saw a change in the market. I mean, from our communication perspective, we launched the 4G, which was much more data-centric. You could have the ability to send and receive data in a different way. And at the same time, in the automotive and transportation and vehicle industry, the vehicles become much more advanced with the electrification and digitalization, as well as much more advanced censorship on board. And now when launching 5G, that's basically from ground up, is designed for a much more advanced machine type communication with higher speeds and lower latency. we believe that in the future, these two industries are about to merge. So for obvious reasons, since we're coming from different industries, we need a common place to innovate and to find synergies and to develop technology going forward. So let's start with the facilities that we have in Sandhult.
Yeah, so this is to the leftmost. You have an aerial picture of the proving ground like it looked a couple of years ago. We've been building ever since 2014 when we opened up, and in 2014 we were a proving ground just like Magnus mentioned, for the vehicles themselves. It could be a truck, it could be a car, it could be a couple of trucks, it could be a couple of cars. But the focus was on the vehicles and only on active safety functions. However, fairly quickly after we opened up, we started seeing a movement towards the automated transportation system. This is the integrated system that Magnus was mentioning. And very early examples of this we can see in the middle row of pictures. We don't have exactly those on the proving ground, but we do have vehicles that are made to operate automated mode in confined areas. And this seems to be a very, very important area for the development of self-driving vehicles and sustainable technologies for moving goods about. What we can see then is also that these vehicles are not generally designed to operate without connectivity. This is because they need to be able to connect with the cloud. They need to be able to connect with the traffic management. They need to be able to connect to the other vehicles. And frankly, from a strict economic standpoint, it's much wiser and cost effective to go for connected solutions, because then you also are able to place the sensors, for instance, where they matter the most. If you want to see around a corner, then you can actually place a sensor in the infrastructure and have it communicate with the vehicle. Yeah, just one example. But it also makes possible for very, very quick and advanced development processes. Of course, we all know about simulation, we know about testing, but these two types of development testing can be combined into augmented reality testing and so on. But to be able to do this, we need to combine a virtual environment with a physical one, and that we can do at AstaZero thanks to the communication layer. Other things that we will need to be able to test on system level, where the communication layer serves as sort of the glue between the various layers. That's robustness of transportation solutions, cybersecurity, and that's on top of what we already do for safety and security for the automated confined area systems. So we are very much seeing the move that Magnus was talking about, and all this can be tested at AstaZero already now, thanks to the cooperation that we have. I'm finished.
Very good. So if we conclude this, and how would you say, what are the offer, what can we support, and what can we
So what we can say is that, as Peter just mentioned, is that already back in 2016-ish, 2017, we launched the first communication network for test and innovation purposes, which was at that time an LTE system. And then we evolved gradually over time, and a couple of years ago we actually launched the 5G system or 5G network at AstaZero. And this is of course also very much going hand in hand in the way that we can actually expand the various type of tests and demos and those activities that we do jointly with our partners like the OEMs, research institutes, and others. So today, I must even though it's a little bit difficult to say this, but it's like the famous beer commercial. Today, we are probably having the most advanced 5G network in the world at AstaZero. So it's not only that we have the communication parts in place, as you can see on this slide, but we also have the full solutions, back-end solutions, including that we have invested quite heavily in edge capabilities, meaning that you can combine, which we are already doing in various projects jointly with OEMs and others, that you can combine and test various ways of performance and other kind of measurements when you have an application that is on the edge servers contra if you run it in a cloud environment somewhere else, like in Germany or whatever it might be, and see what kind of difference that makes. One thing that is also very important that you mentioned, Peter, is that we also have invested quite a lot around having the capability to manage the digital twin in this environment. So whenever we do tests, we always apply a digital twin layer to the physical connectivity layers that we have at the AstaZero. Yeah, I think that is a short introduction to the capabilities that we have.
Right. And of course, let's have a look on the joint projects that we have been doing. Just a few examples. You saw the cooperative maneuvers between vehicles in an intersection before. We've also been working with autonomous drive and to build this traffic tower solution where we can fill up a lot of telematic data. We're using it for product testing and for mobility and high-speed testing in 5G. And of course, a lot with remote controlling, teleoperating vehicles, and also using network exposure capability and cloud functionality for not just understand, but also developing functionality from the ground up. And worth mentioning is that we have a lot more of these examples, and as you can see here, it covers a quite vast array of companies and most of them are actually part of the Lindholmen Science Park community. So it's a quite broad collaboration, like a cooperation arena, you could say.
Yeah, and you can also say that from that context, what you just mentioned, I mean, the brands that you see on this slide are all located here at Lindholmen, and that also gives great advantage for all of us, given that we can very easily interact with each other. We don't have to do complicated meeting setups and those kind of things and administration around that. I mean, if I want to go meet Peter, I just go up to the AstaZero office and then we sit down and we have a chat, you know. So that's one of the true advantages of Lindholmen Science Park.
That simplifies communication and speed. So that was a little bit about the present days. So what do we have around the corner?
I mean, it's always difficult to look into the crystal ball and see what's coming up, and that's why we are so interactive in our discussions with our partners, with our customers, and also the research institutes, because that is also where we are trying to really put the edge on the future, so to speak. And what we are looking at right now, or not only right now, but we already started, is of course very much linked to the artificial intelligence to apply our artificial intelligence into the different type of solutions that wants to be tested. And that is driven by the OEMs, it's driven by us at Ericsson, it's driven by a number of players. So we are also very much involved with our colleagues here, or our friends here in this building at Lindholmen, which is the AI Center of Sweden, with all the capabilities that they are doing and all the tests that they are doing. And of course, we expect that we can use that as a part of what's going to happen in the future. And in parallel with that, what you can see in this slide is that we are also, of course, doing technical investments like the 5G millimeter wave solutions. We have precise location. We have the digital twin to expand that functions jointly with you at AstaZero. And then we, of course, are still working a lot, because we still believe that lots of things going to happen and really take off, which was also mentioned in a previous speech today around the V2X and the collaborative ITS solutions.
Yeah.
So those are one examples from us. I don't know what you say, Peter. What's your view?
Yeah, well, when we try to look into the crystal ball of the future, we try to combine both technical trends that are happening right now, like the massively increased performance of the connectivity networks, for instance, with mega trends like sustainability and other things we need to do as a species to survive. and project that into the future and see what's happening. A few years back, we draw the conclusion that it will be much more working in ecosystems and in collaborations between different partners and actors, OEMs for vehicles, OEMs for operators, network developers, and so on. And with the examples that Magnus gave, I think we've shown that that is already happening. But I would like to connect to what Malin said in the previous speech as well. This will be about working together. And at AstaZero, we are neutral and open tested, that where everybody can meet on equal terms and do system level development. Tech driven only is not good. Megatrend driven only is not good. We will have to combine and make very, very clever choices that are optimum on system level rather than on component level, and that we can do here.
Absolutely, I couldn't agree more. So I mean, I also like to piggyback to one previous presenter that I mean, no one can do everything. No. It's not a single actor can do everything, but everyone can contribute, and to make, well, together we can make each other better. That's, I mean, that's a good bottom line here, and we have a good asset today. So please come over and go crazy developing technology for good and technology for tomorrow.
Yeah, because I think it's important that we really emphasize that if you compare the things that we are jointly doing at AstaZero and the capabilities that we have compared to other test areas or arenas around the world, is that since we are completely independent of any other player from a communication point of view, we are managing everything ourselves. That means that we can really do those kind of stress scenarios that you can normally not do in other
manipulations,
and all the other type of manipulations and things like that, in order to really test what the kind of use cases or solutions that you would like to implement in your products or in your kind of offering to your markets. And that is something that we are extremely proud of. But at the same time, we are also working very closely with operators, because whatever we do at AstaZero is, by the end of the day, something that will also be applicable into macro networks, as we call it, from Ericsson, meaning the public networks. So that's why we also are playing with this type of the dialogues, and also quite open in our discussions with players like Telia, Telenor, and the other operators.
I mean, exactly. We find good solutions. They should be applicable on the market a couple of years later.
Yes.
I think we need to wrap up. We have time's up. So
we did have a question. I don't know whether we are out of time yet, but we did have a question from Yuri Taracano, and the question was how important we think that infrastructure sensors will be in the future. And I just give a super short answer. I think they will be vital, because they can see around the corner if you're a vehicle. Then you can also do short range. You can optimize the sensor based on the environment and the things that you try to detect in another way as you could on a vehicle just moving about. So I think they will be a vital service for the automated transportation system. And I think we will start to see them already in the confined areas. And again, connectivity will be the key to be able to make these systems run together.
And just a final comment from me, I mean, linked to this question. I mean, if you look at what the reason why we are playing so much and investing so much money into this digital twin environments is because that you have to have the holistic view, where the sensors, both from the vehicles as well as from the infrastructure as such, or if it's whatever you put in there, has to be combined, and then you have to be able to share that information with the various type of vehicles, like in the cooperative ITS scenarios and those kind of use cases.
Sensor sharing, sensor fusion.
Yes, definitely so.
So thank you for the question.
Yes. Any other questions coming up, or I don't see any. No,
that was the one that has been written down anyway.
Okay, cool. All right, then I think that we are on time.
Yeah.
Are we?
Tack så mycket Peter, Magnus och Dag. Tack för en väldigt
bra presentation.
Ja, varsågod.
One final.
Let's. I mean, and we are just saying that we are actually walking the talk now. So everything you've seen and heard from right now from this broadcast, then yes, it has been transmitted over 5G system. So hopefully there wasn't too much interruptions, but it's live, it's here, it's now.
Yeah, and we always walk the talk.
Väldigt snyggt, tack så mycket för det. Det funkade ju alldeles utmärkt. Jag har en sista fråga till Peter. AstaZero har ju liksom kontinuerligt uppdaterats hela tiden och legat i framkant. Ni var ju inne på vad vi ser i framtiden, men investeringsmässigt och som provningsbana, vad ligger liksom 10 år framåt? Hur kommer det se ut?
Och det spelas in. Nej, jag tror att vi kommer att se först en snabb utveckling på de här slutna eller confined areas då. För där finns det business case redan idag och teknologierna finns också redan på plats till stor del. Det är inte färdigt, men det är liksom inom räckhåll. Det här kan sträckas ut till exempel busskörfält och så, där man till exempel skulle kunna ha dedikerade busskörfält som till och med kanske skulle kunna vara fysiskt avgränsade från vanliga bilister och trafikanter ute på våra vägar. Så är det ju nästan utanför Göteborg mellan Kungälv och Göteborg till exempel. Där kanske är ett troligt ställe som automationen kommer att börja trycka på härnäst. Men det är en ren spekulation från min sida. Vi är redo för den utvecklingen och vi är redo för att börja utrusta till exempel vår landsväg med den typen av infrastruktursupport som skulle behövas när frågorna börjar komma. Så att det kommer bli väldigt spännande att se vad som händer. Och om 10 år så kommer vi kunna spela upp det här och se hur rätt eller fel jag hade också.
Precis. Tack så jättemycket alla tre.